Baby.
Oh, what are you drinking, bro?
I'm drinking that Evian.
The Evian, bro. Drinking the cup.
What is up, everybody? My name is Parker Ament.
My name is Danny Ferrari.
And we are Excellent Sound. Before we get into this video, we have some crazy news for you guys.
We always have crazy news.
Always. It's a crazy video every week. But we are doing something completely new for you guys. We are actually releasing a brand new visual pack.
Woo!
Called Brand Builders. Look at that, guys.
Build your brand, guys.
Build your brand.
And girls.
So we've been focusing a lot on music, obviously, because we're music producers, but this is going to be something that actually helps you with your brand, with all of your visual stuff, everything that connects to music. So this is super cool. We've never done anything like this before, and we're super excited.
Yeah, I'd like to say something, too, about that. Like, I feel like when I was like really trying to do a lot of music, or when me and Parker actually first started Excellent, we were trying to figure out what our brand was. And it's really hard to find really good quality artwork, right? It's all about content, okay?
Yeah.
Not only is obviously we have the music, but we have to package the music. Essentially, think of the content as the packaging, what brings people in. So what's really cool about Brand Builders is it's high professional quality content, video clips that's really easy to use for you to be able to just drop them into a session. I don't know if we can do it in Ableton or not. We're going to try that for sure. But you could use any software, right? It's super simple.
And the way that we're going to show you guys how to use this is coming from a music producer background. Like,
correct.
We are not video guys by any means, but the way that we're going to be doing tutorials and showing you guys how to use this product is from a music producer standpoint.
Exactly.
And the way that we design the tutorials are all very easy. It's going to be like plug and play. You guys can get editing and making music videos straight away.
And because you guys are music producers, we are including some bonuses of a sample pack and, of course, the actual project file to the demo track Mountains that we are going to drop. We will release that song. I think we got to do like a little bit, make it a little bit longer and stuff. But we will do that because you guys seem to really like that. But yeah, again, when I was coming out, I'd be like, oh, I want to release a song. I need to put artwork out. Where do I get artwork? Okay, let me pay my friend who sucks $20 for
let me try to figure out Photoshop.
Or I try to do it myself.
Yeah.
Everything is done for you to where all you got to do is essentially put your logo in, and you can definitely move stuff around if you do know Photoshop and other editing software.
Yeah.
It's really, really simple, and it's going to make you look professional. So when you do submit stuff in, you're gonna, definitely, people are gonna look at it and be like, wow, this is really high quality.
Yeah, so if you guys want to be a part of that, join our early access list. We have the link in the description. And if you guys aren't subscribed already, I don't know what you guys are doing.
What the hell are you doing?
Go fucking sub. Go like this video, and let's jump right into this.
Subscribe!
So in this video, we're going to be going over 5 ways to actually shuffle your drums that me and Danny both use like all the time in all of our house music, hip-hop, and like all different kinds of styles. So as you heard in this, it sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's pretty simple. So for the drums, let's just listen to this all by itself. No hi-hats in the beginning. So it sounds normal, okay? So, but when you add the metronome in and you listen to it, let's start from here. And let me turn up the metronome.
It's groovy.
You can hear that it's super groovy. There's some things going on with the timing. There's a lot of space going on. That is creating that shuffle that, like, when you're at the rave and you gotta fucking just move your feet. And
yeah, like if you listen to Joyride's drums, like his drums are insane when he does like a lot of house stuff. It's super groovy. And I think like the hardest thing is not necessarily just groove, but also like where to put the MIDI notes to know, to get that sort of flavor of that kind of house groove.
Yeah.
And you can apply to all genres, like Parker's saying.
Exactly. And, we've looked really, really into all the Joyride stuff. And, like, when we lined it up to the grid in Ableton, his stuff is, like, always moving around. So that's a really big thing. But the most important thing when you're about to, shuffle and swing your drums and stuff like that, you have to have an anchor. So in house music, the most common anchor is the kick drum. In hip hop, it's usually the snare. It sounds like your snare is early, but it's because you're pushing the kick back. But in house music, the kick drum is going to be your anchor. So that's exactly what I did here. So this is all, there's nothing weird going on here. This is your anchor. This is holding down the groove. This is going to be like your metronome.
Hold down the fort.
Holding down the fort. So that's the first thing. Now let's move on to the claps. So what I did here on the claps is I layered 2 different claps. So here's one, and here is the second one. The first one's a nice tight clap, and then the second clap I picked is a little bit of more wet clap. It's more of a flam, and a flam is like 2 sounds together that make one sound, like that.
That's a good little...
Yeah, little nug right there for your fucking bowl.
You better hit the fucking nug bowl
fucking
today,
hit
bro.
those. We're hitting nugs today.
You're
dude.
gonna smash it, dude?
We're getting smashed.
Let me know,
on
bro.
Nugs, all right?
I'll light you up.
Exactly. So I'm layering these 2 snares. One's wet, a nice flam, and then one's tight. So the strategy with this is to make a really nice wide clap. So the first one, I didn't do anything here, but if you don't know what this section is right here, this is the track delay section. So you can actually put things earlier or you can make things late, depending on the percentage right over here. So for this clap, I actually made it early. So this minus right here means it's early. So I went, you can get real crazy. But I just went minus 20. So this MIDI note starts like, it'll start like around here if we're getting visual with it.
Yeah, you could move the MIDI note, but this moves everything.
Exactly.
And the way I remember too is minus is like to the left and plus is to the right, because you can go both ways.
Yeah.
Kind of like us.
Yep, exactly. So let's hear that. So this is with no track delay right here. So here's both.
Right on the grid.
Right on the grid, and then here I'm going to move this forward.
Now it sounds like
it's very subtle.
Sounds like 2 people clapping now.
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly. And if you wanted to, you can get really crazy. Here's 40. Now that sounds like it's wrong. So
now you're flume.
Yeah, now you're flume. But that's what we do for the claps. You want to make your claps a little bit early to create that shuffle. And you're creating the illusion that there's like some swing. So that's the first thing. So anchor on the kick, claps early, and then the next part in shuffling your drums is the hi-hat. So I tried to create all these different techniques for you guys in this like little drop video right here. So the next thing with the hi-hat, this is just your main hi-hat right here. Sounds very basic. We're not doing anything with the track delay on the open hi-hat, which is just a really nice open hi-hat. And for this closed hi-hats, I turned them down a little bit, and I really, really like this technique that not a lot of people use. But
light that shit up, bro.
Let's fucking light it up, dude. Give me that lighter.
Cue the music. Let's get that nuggy, bro.
Here we go. So for when you want to create randomness with your MIDI notes, and you want to keep it very clear, pull up this little velocity in your Ableton. So if you go to MIDI effects right here, there is a velocity plugin. And if you throw this on, there's a bunch of different presets. My 2 favorite are Dynamic 1 and Dynamic 2. All of these other ones get a little too crazy for me. But for this one, I use Dynamic 2. And then you have a drive knob, you have outs, you have compression, and you have your randomness. So I turn the randomness up to 30, and I turn the drive down a little bit. So let's listen to that really quick.
Now is that's messing with just the velocity, correct?
Yeah. So if you were to do that manually, it would be down here.
Yeah,
so,
we're not doing that.
We're not doing that. You would have to like draw in all this fucking
cool
shit.
Little trick too.
Yeah, which this is fun, but like, see how like it's not as powerful. So with the velocity, this does this automatically for you, and you can get really crazy with the random, where it's kind of all over the place. But I liked it around 30. And if you turn up the drive, it makes it more consistent. If you turn it down, it's a little less consistent.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool plugin, and you don't really hear it unless it's with everything else. Like,
That's such a good groove.
So this is what the hi-hat's fucking loud. So it's very little simple things that like make huge differences in your groove. So
you just like smoked me out.
Let's fucking get
dude
high on Nod,
dude.
Baby.
Whoa, bro. I
Yeah,
didn't even,
dude.
I like literally I'm sitting here. I know we talked about this before, but I'm watching this dynamic thing and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's such a good shuffle without even having to use the groove pool or anything else.
Exactly. So that's one element. Now the next element, I don't usually like going to do like machine gun hats in house, but if you do these two elements, that it really helps. So the next thing that I did with this is I added an actual groove. So if you guys didn't know, you can go here and you can select different grooves, which swing your MIDI.
Yeah, and if you right click in there, it shows a bunch of right click in the groove pool. It shows you a bunch of different grooves to be able to demo too.
Yeah.
As well.
So the two that I really like is the Logic swing, and I really like the MPC swing. So the MPC swing is like the old hip hop stuff, and the Logic one I don't really even know. It's based on obviously Logic, but I don't know what they're basing it off of within there. I haven't used Logic in forever. But the Logic 16 sounds really, really good. So I threw this guy on there. If you don't know how to do it, you just type in, Logic over here and go to all results. And then it has all these different subdivisions of the timing. So you have 16ths. That one's really swung. 16, 69.
Sick.
Yeah, 58 is getting less. And then here's an eighth note swing. So...
Yeah. They have a ton in there, which is cool. And what's cool about the MPC one is the MPC, the old drum machine, had an actual swing to it. Just because when somebody would hit the button, it wouldn't necessarily hit right on time. And so that's why they referenced the MPC, because it had an actual natural swing. I don't think it was on purpose.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that they actually were able to capture that in a sort of way.
Yeah. So I left it over here. You can actually commit the MIDI to the swing if you want. If I hit commit, you can see like it turns the randomness off of the grid, but I don't usually like that. I like seeing everything on grid because it makes it easier for my creativity.
Makes you feel better too.
Yeah, and if you guys want to know more about like groove and all that stuff, like one of our first ever videos on Excellent Sound Channel, I go really, really deep into how you can steal people's grooves, how you can go in and like really like get crazy with your rhythms. So go check that out. We're gonna put that video up like right here.
Oh, right in
there.
your hand.
Boom.
Look at it.
So go check that out. That's one of our oldest videos. Super fun. But yeah, let's move on. The next thing, this is where we get really, really fun and crazy. So we have two different percussion rhythms right over here. The first one I did was just a basic groove. So this is kind of what Danny was talking about in the beginning, where there's certain rhythms that create more of a shuffle than others. So this first, let me just solo all of this for you. So this first rhythm is, and it creates that dancey kind of bounce and that vibe. So Danny was telling me earlier, right before this video, he likes to do this with his closed hi-hat instead of like machine guns. So you could definitely do that. I usually like having it be a different kind of tone, like a perk like this, or since he likes hi-hats, it's a lower sound. It's a more dark sound, so you can kind of pitch your hats lower for that, which is really nice. So what I usually like doing is right before
that open hat hits.
Yeah. And then this is like the classic fucking hip hop beat that everybody does.
Right.
It's like really played out, but like in house, it's fresh and it's new because nobody does it, And it creates that bounce.
I think it's really about like, if you notice, like for me was about like, okay, where do I put the MIDI, right? And if you put the grid into like, what is it, 16ths or whatever? You can see that closed hi-hat, that very first one is hitting right before the open hi-hat hits, right?
Yeah, so the open hat would be like right here, and it's coming right before.
And then the second one is on the backbeat, right? Which is right before the kick comes in. So it's kind of like almost like pushing itself into the next drum. Does that make sense? That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
But once I was able to like visualize that, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Because it's hard. It's hard writing these types of drums. Like it's not easy to do this by yourself, you know?
So that was the first way, and then check it out. Go back to the track delay over here, and I actually made it late. So 20 is kind of like the magic number with your track delay. Like if you go more than that, it starts getting a little crazy. 25 is like really pushing it on the edge to where it's like really late. Like check this out, like 25.
That's not too bad, actually.
It's not too bad.
For this.
But here's 30. Still not too bad, but if you add all the sounds, it starts losing that pocket. So I like 20 on this. So that's really good.
Anything 25 and over is just flume.
Yeah, exactly. We
love Flume.
We fucking love Flume. I don't even know where his grid is.
Yeah.
He's on a fucking other planet with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's got no grid.
He fucking kills it, dude.
Yeah.
He knows how to. He's meticulous. You know for a fact he's going in there and moving each MIDI note for a reason. He's not like kind of doing it. These are like little tricks we got to help you. It's basically MIDI placement, swing, and then velocity.
Yeah.
Like that dude's going in there and just dragging everything to like its perfect point, which takes way too long. I don't got time for that shit.
Yeah. So on this, here's the last strategy for shuffling your drums. I made this on the last phrase, and I thought this was like a really cool trick that not a lot of people use. I saw a couple producers using this.
Oh, this shit blew my mind too. This is a huge fucking note.
Yeah, this is crazy. So if you could see that there's some grayed out notes here. And then there's obviously the activated ones, and I kind of made a rhythm with that. Now, if you zoom in closely, it's not on the grid. You can keep zooming in, and it's still like, look how far I'm in, and it's not on an actual grid. If you could see here, there's some grayed out MIDI notes, there's some activated ones, and the way that I go about doing this is I'm trying to squeeze in as many 16th notes as I can into a 4/16th note measure. So I got this clip over here. We have 5 MIDI notes right here, and the way that you do this is you highlight up here in this little gray bar, and you can actually squeeze 5 notes into 4. So then now that you have this, you actually can gray out all of them, and you can pick different rhythms in here and make different grooves with that, and it's not going to be on the grid, but it's going to make sense. So let's go back over here. I duplicated that MIDI pattern over and over again, and I made a cool groove with it. And if you hear it.
So you're taking 5 notes and you're squeezing them into the placement of where essentially 4/16th notes would be.
Exactly.
And that creates like almost like not like a random grid, but almost like a perfect kind of swing to it, like a natural swing. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, so instead of doing like 16th triplets or 8th triplets and staying on the grid, you're actually squeezing 5/16th notes into 4/16ths, if that makes sense. And with that, you're creating a natural swing instead of like going in and moving something off grid and not knowing exactly where it is. It's a little bit more exact.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a really good strain of Nodge right there.
Yeah,
dude. That's
dude.
what strain is that?
That's the fucking MIDI strain.
That's the MIDI strain, dude.
Bro.
You smack that, dude. I bet you the music better be playing right now,
Oh,
bro.
dude, we're fucking
Getting baked on Nodge, dude.
Oh, we're getting super baked. And so this strategy actually works with, you can go all the way up to 7. You can do crazy stuff. You can go all the way up to, 13. But once you get a little farther like this, it starts getting more fine. So you can squeeze that in, and then look, that's another, this is another swing right before that hi-hat hits right over here. So really, really cool technique that you guys can try out. A lot of this stuff actually applies to hip hop too, which I make a ton of beats. Danny makes a ton of beats, and like we're always looking for different ways to kind of mess up and give that like real human feel. You know, a lot of boom bap does this. Really cool technique.
That's a really great workflow thing too. If you're not really strong with swing and you don't want to use the other methods that we showed you, and you want to get something maybe a little bit, it's almost like random, but it's not. But I feel like it's a really cool technique just to kind of get you to get some ideas going as far as where to place the actual MIDI notes for swing.
Yeah, exactly. And look, if you were to duplicate this whole thing out, turn them all on.
You can hear it.
It makes sense. It's like on rhythm, but it's not on rhythm.
Right. That's really swung, but
yeah.
you can hear that it catches the pocket.
And it's not triplets either. So even check this out. You know, this is really fucking swung. You know, that wouldn't make sense in kind of a house situation like this, but it's something really cool that you guys can play with.
Awesome, dude.
So let's hear that whole thing together. We're going to hear the first phrase and then the second phrase. We got the cool hi-hats coming. Track delay on the first perk. Then our 5 swing. And then with the sound, the last part, the sound is pretty anchored on. We're not swinging anything. I'm not swinging anything in serum. Everything is pretty straightforward. And then if you guys also noticed, you know, when we were making this drop, we chose to kind of accentuate certain parts of the rhythm to give it that bounce.
Yeah, that's another, like, everything is like rhythm and stuff is everything has a specific place when it comes to the actual kick drum, to that anchor, and whatever is kind of helping it push it into the actual downbeat or upbeat.
Exactly. And also be aware of your side chain too. So obviously you're going to be side chaining to like 4 on the floor. But when you're writing your bass notes and when you're trying to get that groove, you're going to have to kind of play with that because you're not going to be wanting to hit it on the ones, you know? This is always on the dun, 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 dun. This is more like the 3s. So yeah, there is 5 different ways to swing and shuffle your drums. If you guys actually loved these sounds, you can get them all in our new Technically House pack.
Technically House.
We just dropped that on the 1st. It is banging right now. It's one of our favorite packs, especially right now. Everybody's making tech house. Like, it's great for all of your houses.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
If you got a
bass house,
you can have tons of houses.
Yeah, dude, it's sick. Tons of really cool kicks. Really great hi-hats, and of course, tons and tons of loops. Yep. So go check out that pack if you like these sounds, and if you like this video, like, subscribe, and tell your producer friends about us.
And if you like this project file, we're actually giving it away to our patrons that are part of our Legacy and YouTube and VIP tier.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you guys, you know what? I'm going to go ahead, since this was like full of this had a lot of nugs in it. I'm just going to hit a Patreon nug for all the patrons right now.
Hit a Patreon nug,
and
baby.
what's going to happen is all the patrons are I'm going to expel them out of my mouth.
Oh yeah, let's
nug.
take one.
There they are. There's all our patrons right now. Thank you to the new patrons. And then sometimes you get a little one right here.
Thank you, patron.
Thank you, patron.
Thank you so much.
Right? And then you fucking throw it.
Get them out of here.
We'll see you guys next time, right?
Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get out of here.
Got that drink in my cup.